Hey, it's Jorge from Oh So Fast Reviews. Today I'm going to be doing a review on The 100, Season 5, Episode 12, which is basically the season finale, Part 1. I'm going to do a quick just recap of the whole episode and then my theories on what's going to happen next. War started, which I think is very fitting. We do find out immediately that Kane did end up flipping on the on their basically the whole one crew, which I think is just not like him. I was hoping, I guess deep down that he would kind of be double crossing McCreary, doing like kind of like that double cross, but that kind of stinks. And unfortunately, their plan's working. McCreary's crew is just taking out one crew. They had no idea what they were walking into. And then when Kane and Dioza kind of meet up with McCreary, he's kind of letting them hear what he's done. And Kane, of course, tries to backtrack a little bit and says, we need them, we can live in peace. But I think it's funny how McCreary's just using Doza's book where he's basically tells her, we don't need this, like Doza wrote that. I did find it interesting, though, how Kane, I guess, is somewhat feeling remorseful, which I find a little weird. But then I did like how McCreary basically just told Dioza, once the baby's born, like, you're dead. I definitely thought that was kind of nice. I did like the way that I think McCreary, he was putting on the radio for Kane to hear it, and he used I think Kane talked to him back, and he said, "Does that sound like victory?" Just because you were just hearing all the people getting shot up and everything. So I thought that was interesting. You kind of jump back now real quick to Clark asking Abby basically if the overdose was an accident, and Abby basically says that she doesn't know. My guess here is that by seeing Vincent kind of eat up those people, she just kind of relapsed and just wanted to make that thought go away, so she definitely OD'd. I did find it, interesting how, all of a sudden Clark is talking to Abby, and then Maddie just goes missing. And then when Clark talks to Abby, basically Abby just says, do whatever it takes to remove that chip from her. So that was insane. I couldn't imagine what was going to happen next. And then freaking Clark, like, I don't know how much more the writers of this show can make me hate her right now, but straight up puts the shock collar on Maddie and shocks the hell out of her. Completely like throws me off because it's like she's basically just like Abby. Abby ended up shocking Raven, a few episodes back, and now Clark is doing it to Maddie. So I think that is insane. I do like how they kind of jump back to the fight scene, and Echo basically is going crazy, calling Dioza a traitor, and then I do like how Murphy just kind of interjects that Kane's with her too. So I thought that was pretty interesting. You kind of go back to the fight scene, and you kind of see kind of like the trio of Bellamy, Indra, Octavia, and Gaia. And, she's been hit, so I think that's kind of interesting. I wonder if she's kind of going to be the first real death, I guess, of not a major character, but a good supporting character. Then you kind of move about, Kane talking to Abby. And then in the background, who do you see before commercial break is Vincent just looking in. So I definitely think that's going to go crazy to see what happens there. I do love how Echo kind of had a bigger role per se, and, more leadership role. And how basically they ended up breaking into the camp and getting Maddie. But then, lo and behold, Clark has to jack it up again. Um, I understand her trying to protect Maddie, but it's almost at a blindness where she can't see that she's hurting so many other people. So now, you have McCreary, who has Raven, who has Shaw. So it just kind of blows me away how quickly that changed and screwed everything up. Because now obviously he has his pilot and all that. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes, moving forward. and then you kind of jump into Vincent, talking to Kane. I did find it interesting how when that whole scene happened, um, Vincent kind of keeps talking about how he needs Abby to be a junkie, and almost like, if someone dies, that's the easiest way that they would relapse. I think Vincent felt needed by Abby, which made him feel good. So I kind of feel for him in that department, but I just wish it would have gone a different way. And then lo and behold, freaking Vincent goes ham on Kane. Straight up shanks him like 17 times, gives him like the Undertaker chokehold slam into the table, and then just takes a bite out of his neck. But then Abby comes in, and here's the part that I find a little weird. So she shocked the crap out of him, which I get, but you would think if you're getting shocked because he was biting Kane, wouldn't Kane also get shocked just with that whole transfer of electricity? But minor thing, I do think that this was kind of Kane's death scene because, obviously it was a little drawn out. And then he forgives Abby and kind of blames everything on Octavia for the dark years, which I don't think is the right thing to do because I think Abby was the one behind it all. So I definitely found that a little interesting for sure. Moving on from there, Echo and Clark have a talk. Um, After, like Echo wakes up, and obviously Echo is tied up. I did find it interesting how Clark uses, like, because Echo's basically calling Clark a traitor, which she is. But Clark uses this wording, I think it was like, we all have blood on our hands, don't we? Which is interesting because she kind of throws a jab at Echo for what she did over at Mountain Weather. And then obviously Echo, fires back with she should have killed Clark when she had the chance. And then the part that I found interesting here was, Clark is talking about how Bellamy, is dead and all this, and Echo just kind of tells her like, hey, he's not dead. And it's like, whoa, game changer. Now Clark all of a sudden wants to help and be the good guy. So definitely kind of sucks. I wasn't a fan of that. And then obviously uh, Clark freaking decides to wake up a little bit and do the right thing for once. I feel this whole season she's just kind of screwed everyone over. So her doing the right thing was very different. I did find it odd how Maddie and Clark kind of had that moment talking about, how the one thing Lexa regrets was leaving her alone. I thought that was weird. And then her using that line, life should be more about more than just surviving. Um, then, obviously Clark ends up kind of shooting those two guards, and then kind of putting Echo as her caretaker, which I thought was interesting. So it's almost like one minute, she hated Echo and all this, and now it's like, oh, here, take my daughter, become her new caretaker. I did find it awesome how Clark, basically straight up almost gave Maddie her like commander, for say, like almost like a passing of the guard. I did kind of, as much as I hate Clark right now, I will admit, I did enjoy how Clark had that thing where she told Maddie, you may be the commander, but I'm the commander of death. So that leads me to believe that Clark is going to do her best to blow up the spaceship for sure. So definitely want to see what happens with that. And then, Shaw and Raven have their moment again, just being super sweet to each other. Shaw basically tells Raven, like, you got to kill me with this shock collar. Like, turn it on to kill me because if they start torturing you, I'm going to give. They kind of have their moment. And then right when, I think that Raven's going to end up doing it, McCrary kind of steps in and stops it. So definitely was a little crazy about that scene. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. And then we kind of go back into the war, and you kind of see this turn in Octavia, which I love. Kind of finally showing that she is a leader, and kind of showing that she is the one that caused all this. And the only way she knows to fix this is basically by saving, Bellamy's life, Indra's life, and Gia's life. And I thought it was very interesting how you know how Bellamy always says, you know, my sister, my responsibility. And she basically just reversed it on him and she goes, my brother, my responsibility. It was almost like a moment like, hey, I know what I've done is messed up. And then, you know, the easiest way I can explain it, Octavia, for any of you guys who ever watched the World of Warcraft thing with Leroy Jenkins, she basically pulls that move. They're all chilling there, and all of a sudden she grabs her AK-47, runs out with a Leroy Jenkins move, just starts shooting everything that's out there. You know, she's definitely ready to just die for them, which I thought was so awesome. But you know, obviously, out of the blue, you see the rover come up, and Maddie to the rescue. You know, Maddie's driving it. You see Murphy come out with his blaster gun, which I thought was hilarious. How, you know, his blaster gun didn't work, so he had to throw it. But definitely enjoy seeing Murphy having, I guess, kind of just guns. He is just a wild guy, so he's definitely been a huge favorite of mine this season. So from there, you know, everyone kind of gets into the rover and starts driving off, and you kind of can't tell if Indra's daughter's alive or dead or not. They kind of just leave that out to the open, and then the episode ends with the to be continued. So this is going to be a wild final episode. I will give it up to the 100 writers. Like, this episode was on point. Action the whole time, kind of, you know, kept me on the edge of my seat. Next episode, I am thrilled to see what happens. I definitely think Clark is gonna do Clark, and somehow she's gonna find a way of jacking up this ship. I do think that, obviously there's gonna have to be something that happens, because obviously I think with the promos you kind of see Maddie, you know, kind of taking charge. So I wonder if they're gonna end up overtaking them, or what's gonna happen. What I would love to see happen in some weird kind of way is, obviously I think the cryo units are gonna be used. Like, I just have a feeling about that. I feel that, you know, they're gonna end up, I guess, almost restarting the 100 per se, you know, kind of keep the 100 in there. I think they're going to try to find that other ship that's still in the sky. But I think with the people that are left behind, because in the episode you kind of see the bomb getting dropped off. So one of two things I think can happen. Either they're going to destroy the bomb before it hits the ground, but I think certain characters are going to be left behind to try to make the land livable again. I find it almost too odd for that not to happen. It's not like they're just gonna go up into space and then come right back down. Um, I definitely think that there's gonna be, because I know even through like San Diego Comic Con and all these other things, Clark and Bellamy, you know, the actors, they've been talking about how there's this really good moment. What I see happening is, I can see Clark and some of, you know, like the one crew and the original kind of, you know, 100 going on the spaceship. But then I foresee, you know, like Bellamy, Octavia, um, you know, just a few of them staying behind, and that kind of being the goodbye for now. I think that's the moment that we're talking about. But yeah, no, overall this episode was great. I loved every minute of it. There's no denying that. I definitely can't wait till next week. Very bummed that next week is going to be the season finale, but on the bright side, for all of us addicts, you know, we can kind of go binge through this season again. I think it comes out on Netflix August 15th. So looking forward to that. But I'll go ahead and end it with this. I think death-wise, we definitely have to see a few people die. I think Clark and Bellamy are going to live. They just have to live. I feel Maddie's going to live. Um, Somehow, I think Echo's gonna end up taking a shot for Maddie, or even Octavia may take a shot for Maddie. I think that will be an interesting kind of dynamic there. But I think definitely one of the main characters will die. Obviously, I think Kane is already dead. Um, I hope Abby dies. I'm just not a fan of her, you know, just being real. I hope Doza lives. McCreary, I can see him surviving just because you kind of need your villain. But from the one crew people, I definitely see, at least one more impactful death. Definitely not sure who it's gonna be. I hope it's not Indra. I think she's had a very neat run in this episode, and I kind of consider her one of the originals. So hopefully it's not her. But I can definitely see Echo dying, Amore. I can see dying. I hope they don't kill off Murphy. I just like Murphy, so hopefully they don't kill him. But I definitely see some major deaths coming. But other than that, yeah, let me know your thoughts. Definitely want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think will happen next episode? But that's all I got for this week. I'll see you guys next week with the final review of the season finale. So far, this season, I think, has been on par with one of the best ones that I've seen. So, definitely very excited for it. But other than that, I will see you guys later. And don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button if you like what you're seeing. And that's it, guys.